Divots and Pivots, episode 23. After the week off, we are back, and Bud is outside where I wish I was instead of in this hot-ass room where I can't turn my AC on because it is right next to my microphone, and you guys don't want to hear that humming along this whole show. But anyways, welcome to our what is going to be our regular new thing to all of our viewers live on YouTube tonight, live on Twitch TV. Welcome, and as always, you will still be able to catch the show at our normal time at 10 a.m. For work and watch Wednesdays in the morning on Belly Up TV, the Belly Up Twitter pages as well, and Belly Up YouTube. But anyways, we took a week off. We deserved it. You know what? We can say we deserved it, but we also just had some stuff come up. Let's be real, that just kind of got in the way, unfortunately. But how are you sitting back down in front of the mic, my man?
I'm doing phenomenal, fantastic, wonderful, all those things. I say we deserve it. I'm kind of jokingly wink, nod to all the other players who, well, they didn't take the Travelers off, but almost everyone took this week off. So it's good to be back.
To take off, didn't we?
The Travelers is fun, man. And actually, it's funny. Okay, so real quick about the Travelers. We didn't get to talk about this last week. In Live Golf is back in the news. It's, we didn't even 2 minutes into the show. We didn't even, we couldn't make it without bringing up Live Golf. And I'm going to do a quick song and dance about Live Golf to date. Everybody's kind of done their piece about where the money's coming from and all that kind of stuff. Update to now. And something that just went off in my head was last week, the Travelers Championship was down just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And in their philanthropy is the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp. I've mentioned it before on the show. I've worked in summer camps for a long time, and it's a camp that Paul Newman started back in the late 80s for children with terminal cancer. Children with terminal illnesses who need a normal summer camp experience. And so,
real fast, but because I hate to cut this off, is this the rant that you were talking about?
Yes.
Pre-show? Okay, hold on, because this is what we're going to do now. Because Bud always seems to start our shows off with a rant. We're going to start this right now, and Bud doesn't even know this is coming right now. This is the new segment to start our show anytime Bud has something on his mind. We got What is Slicing Bud? And we are going to run this anytime Bud has something on his mind. So back to you, Bud. What is slicing you?
I'll tell you what's slicing me today. So Live Tour's back in action. They're at Pumpkin Ridge this week. They're out in Portland. They're doing their thing. 54 holes, 3 days, shotgun starts, the whole bit. Okay, I've been out there saying it the whole time. I think it's a fun format. It's an exhibition format. It's not going to ever replace tournament golf, but I do like that cool idea. I think maybe a one-off shotgun start here or there, maybe Zurich or something. But Live's back in the tournament, and back in the news, but because of last week and the Travelers and kind of being close to my heart with the philanthropy there. And if you haven't looked up Hole in the Wall Gang Camp, do it. It's a really cool story. Paul Newman, if you've had Newman's Own Dressing or anything like that, that's where those proceeds go to, the Serious Fun Network, and they do great work down there. But the camp is a cool place. And so the tournament comes, raises a bunch of money, puts a good spotlight on this great cause. Not only, just summer camps for this type of kids, but just camp in general. It's the summer, it's that season. And it got me thinking, what this is missing from the Live Tour. They don't have a charitable arm. They don't have, and I was going to get on my high horse and start, rattling off all these tournaments and charities. And then I did a little bit of research, just a tiny bit of elbow grease. But it took a ton of Google searches because it's buried, but they do have a charitable arm called Live to Give. Now, quick pause.
Like the name. Again,
everybody's made their peace or has not made their peace. Whether you're at peace with it, you've already considered where the money is coming from. Let's get back into the game and just follow me with this whole experiment and this missed opportunity and why they're not going to be as successful in the long run. They've got Live to Give set up. It's $100 million or 100 million pounds, whatever they want to call it, set aside, and they're going to dole it out a million here, a million there as they do their tour stops. First time right outside of London, it was this thing called Grit, and it was growing resilience in teens, and it was kind of right outside of London. It's a couple of hard-hit cities. It would be, it'd be like picking an inner city club or a boys and girls club here that really needed that kind of support. Yeah. And I thought, cool, they're doing that. So I went to their website. It's not on their website. It's not on any of the tournaments. They're going out to Portland this week. So I went to the Portland page. I mean, I can find out. I was already looking up hospitality packages for the Boston stop. So, I mean, $250 get you all you can drink and all you can eat and access to this. $5,000 and you're on the 18th green, $10,000 and you're inside the ropes. Nowhere does it talk about what kind of giving back or communication or kind of community growth they're trying to do. Yeah. And that's when it hit me. That's why it won't be a sustainable run, because they're trying to get into a space in a game, and it's almost I hate to say it, but yeah, it's like you tried to buy your way to the front of the line. You're going up against something that maybe is not as big on the bottom dollar, but let's talk about value add overall. And I think that's why when you see some of these announcements coming out from the PGA Tour saying, yeah, we're going to jack up the purses in these tournaments. Cool. We're going to satisfy those people. All right. What else you got? I mean, the money's going to come from somewhere. The adjustments are going to be made. I don't think LIV is going to die, but go to any PGA Tour event website. Go to the John Deere Classic. You'll see it's birdies for whatever. I can't remember what the acronym is. It's birdies for something. You go to the Waste Management, it's the Thunderbirds. You go to the Travelers, it's the Hole in the Wall Game Camp. You go to the Players Championship, the keystone flagship event for the PGA Tour. And right there on the top bar, charity is one of their kind of, it's not just a menu item on a website. So it's part of their identity. And I'm not trying to paint anybody in a light better than the other. Of course I am. But what I am pointing out is LIV's gonna, they're trying to do it, but they're not going to get there like this. They need to have these pre-identified partnerships. They're missing a huge opportunity with press and actually building some foundational work in these communities. Because if you're not going to go anywhere, don't just come to town every year with your millions and your dog and pony show. And no, Brooks, I don't believe that Brooksy today. Oh, I know you guys aren't going to believe this, but the decision wasn't made until or after you. You know what? Horseshit. I'm sure your decision wasn't made, but you talk about your team and your entourage and all that kind of stuff. It's like these NFL contracts when the trade deadline starts, all of a sudden, like
people were talking. That's why there was rumors that there was another top 10 guy, another top 20 guy. Like people knew.
And so what's slicing me this week is the missed opportunity from the LIV Tour to say, like, if you're actually going to get in this game, get in the game and get some press out there around the good work you're trying to do. But it doesn't sound like you're trying to do any work. It sounds like you're trying to come to town, write a check and leave. And that's not the kind of foundational, that's not the kind of foundation that's going to build a sustainable tour. So there's my song and dance on the LIV Tour this week.
Well, you're right. Because that's the other valuable part for these charities when they sign up with anything, whether it's a small show like us or if it's a PGA event. Sure, they want that initial donation from that main player that they're advertising with, but they want the word of mouth out there. They want the brand recognition of their charity, because that's going to get them even more donations. And Bud almost went dark on us there for a second, but you're right. That's something that if just from a straight business standpoint, if they just put it out there more, you would think they'd probably get more charities starting to buy in, and which is just going to drive it more. Like it's a give and take.
It's from the very beginning. I've said LIV Golf has screwed up this rollout hard.
Yes.
Again, it's not that there's not a want or a need or a desire for this, for a shakeup or for some new stuff. But I mean, every step along the way, trying to just poach people with money from the top, not coming up. And Greg Norman is worth hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how this is getting bungled like this, because it is kind of a cool opportunity. And every week that it goes by and we talk about it, though, I get closer and closer to that question of like, yeah, but where is the money coming from?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I like to try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I do understand, like Bryson was out there today saying, or this week saying, at the end of the day, we're weighing the pros and the cons, and the pros outweighed the cons. All right, listen, professor, how much weight did you put on your conscience? Because I don't, to each his own, but these are fair questions to ask, and people are going to ask them. I'm asking
They're definitely fair questions. So they have to be prepared they have to be prepared to answer them with legitimate answers, because people they're legitimate questions.
Oh, for sure.
And people deserve to know where they stand if they're going to make this choice.
Touche.
In my opinion.
Do you want to talk about real golf?
I do, but before we do that, because we missed last week's show, we did miss the announcement of our giveaway winner from our live U.S. Open show back on the 18th of June. If you missed that, it's on YouTube. You can go and check it out, Divots and Pivots YouTube. You can see us live playing on the simulator, where we just kept getting so distracted talking golf with our fantastic guest that I don't even think we finished. Holes. Was it 14? We got through 14 holes. Yeah. So, but we had a lot of fun. It was a good time. But the winner of a Piper Golf hat is Mr. Scott Masterson. I almost messed up that name. That's an easy name. My apologies, Scott. But Mr. Scott Masterson comes through with the win of the giveaway of a Piper Golf hat. He's already been reached out to. He's already made his choice of hat, so that is on his way. So if you want to get in on future giveaways here with us for future live events and other opportunities that we do for giveaways. We will repost our giveaway form where we will continue to pick random winners in future giveaways.
Tomorrow when we do our picks.
Yeah, so tomorrow when we do our picks, look out for the Twitter on Divots and Pivots Twitter, and then at Real Mr. Mallard and at This Buzz For You will both retweet it out. Fill out the form, jump in, and we'll make sure to be picking out some winners in the future as well for some more giveaways. But yes, back to real golf, because the U.S. Open we were on halfway through on Saturday. We saw Mr. Matthew Fitzpatrick finally comes through, doing what everyone wanted him to do. And look, the story is fantastic to win the U.S. Amateur and the U.S. Open on the same golf course. Only player to ever do that was Jack Nicklaus. So it's big name, big crowd that Matt's in there with.
I love that big name. Big name,
Yeah,
Jack
big
Nicklaus.
name.
Yeah, apparently he called him during the trophy ceremony. Like called somebody on the.
That's
who I want to know. I want to know who did Jack. First of all, did Jack pick up his cell phone and look at the TV and go, "I know that guy," or is it just Jack and Barb sitting there in the bear den?
Be like, hey, you should call him, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's my question. Like, did the PR guy, did his guy, his go-to person, his assistant, whatever he calls him, or her, did they come in from the other room and say like, all right, Mr. Nicklaus, we've got Matthew Fitzpatrick on the phone, or did he kind of motion? In my world, I want to think that Jack is sitting there and I bet he calls his man cave the bear den, and he's sitting there and he sees it, and I think he reaches over and he pulls up his phone and he just like. He says, "Hey Siri, get me the USGA," and that's all he says. Yep. And then all of a sudden, somebody just said, it's like a little number pops up at USGA headquarters, and they see that it's him, and it just gets rerouted automatically where it needs to go. Because I loved it. Somebody got a shot of him like getting handed a cell phone. It's a cool moment. He's such a likable kid. 17 of 18 greens. To have the stones. Everybody says this, right? To have the stones. It's not the stones to hit that shot. It's the fact that first of all, he's that guy who's been writing down every single shot he's hit since he was 15 years old. And so he's got a database. And so when he got down there, he got down there, yardage, lie, distance, the whole bit. And he was so dialed in, crank, knocked it up there. I thought Zalatoris made that putt. I genuinely thought. And did you hear what he said to Fitzpatrick's family afterwards?
I didn't hear what he said to the family. No, I was too busy watching the family's reaction because I thought the family's reaction off to the side was just fantastic.
Well, for more reasons than one, I'm done with Brooks Koepka. He broke up with me. He broke up with me after the U.S. Open when he jumped ship, and he hasn't really shown up to our last few dates.
I proposed to him over Bryson, and he walked away. So I'm there with you on Brooksy.
I've been all in on Brooksy for a while. I've been on this always bet him in the majors because he was Zalatoris before Zalatoris, but Willie Z is my guy now. He walked over, I guess, to the family and said, "If I was going to lose to anybody, I'm glad it was your son." It was like.
He's a class act. That's what he is, and that's the look we see with Spieth. I mean, look, Spieth and JT are like just slightly above that young crowd, but they're still the younger crowd of the golf world. Like they're teetering there, but that's something that I think they are all like genuine gentlemen and like good class act guys. This core group of young guys that are still coming up and that have already established themselves. I think it's great for the world of golf.
There was when Tiger was coming back. The second time. So when he won the Tour Championship in 18, it was really cool to see the players who stuck around afterwards to wait for him outside of the locker room and everything. I mean, it was that moment of like, yes, like you said, everybody from like JT on up to I want to say like Justin Rose hung around for him. I mean, all these people who just revere him, but like you said, they're now stepping into this era of competition where like what kind of that's Miller. That's
I was just gonna say
she's probably gonna drop a doozer live on air.
But this whole chupacabra or something.
This chupacabra. But this new generation of golfers, they are buddies. They're bros. They like each other. They go to each other's. They're competitors. I mean, they'll tell you that. Like Scotty Scheffler and Will Zalatoris grew up playing one another. Willie Z said he's like, nah, he's a shit talker. He was back when he was a kid. He's like, nobody wants to beat you more than he does. And I like that about him because he is a reserved guy. We, Scott Scheffler, and he woke up crying the Sunday morning of the Masters because he said, I don't know if the moment's too big for me. And his wife kind of calmed him down and everything, like all wives can do. And so the game of golf is heading into a good place. And as Live gets going and the names that they've taken, I think, and I know they know what they're doing. You saw the enthusiasm in London. There was a big pomp and circumstance. They're going to have fun out in Pumpkin Ridge. Portland's going to protest because Portland protests. But it's Portland. They protest. And but I think they are speaking to more of a global game. They know they're doing that. They're not coming here to get us. They are trying to grow the game, and I think multiple things can be true at the same time. They can be trying to grow the game, and it can have some negative impacts societally, in the sense of there is some dirty money floating through there. But I have to stop myself from being a hypocrite, because I'm also the guy who says, how far do you let 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon go? Right. Like I'm on, where was my microphone made? Where are these headphones made? Like,
exactly.
I mean,
you can trace everything back to some sort of controversial thing
if you want to. We don't want to. We want to talk about golf and things that affect us in very deep emotional ways, like the U.S. Open and seeing Matthew Fitzpatrick hit that shot.
Amen. And you know what? It was a great U.S. Open. And with it being
that was a great amen.
It was a great amen. With it being here in our backyard in Brookline, Mass. From everything I heard, it sounded like the country club delivered. It delivered on quality, of course. It delivered on difficulty of play. I think it gave the players, as we saw with the scores, a pretty good challenge and run for their money. And from everything I heard about the accommodations there, like I said, unfortunately we weren't able to go, but from everyone who I know who has gone, the accommodations there were everything they expected it to be. Outside of the food and beer prices that we all saw and complained about, it seems like they did a stand-up job of representing our area, the New England, the Massachusetts, the Boston area well. So there's a little bit of pride there for me.
Two things. Thank you for saying our area. I feel as a born again New Englander, it's always nice when the locals take me in. Secondly, I told you I played in the Public Links qualifier this morning. Missed the cut by 2 strokes. We'll talk about it another time. But the marshal that was following us around, he volunteered at the country club for 4 days. And I talked to him for a couple holes about it. And he said he's played the course probably a dozen times. And he says he's never seen it in this kind of shape. They really did. He's like, even the people that he knows, the members that he knows, or his access, said that they really did kind of outdo themselves with this one. What do you think? Quick U.S. Open aside, and come on, we've got the John Deere Classic this week, buddy. It's when Webb Simpson circles the wagons and comes to BFE Illinois. We'll get into why.
And is the top priced person on DraftKings.
Oh my God! But here's a rumor, not a rumor. I say a rumor. It's floating around because I'm going to float it, and I want it to float around. Should the USGA? They're planting these flags at like Pinehurst, boom, Pebble Beach, boom. You're going to be, and I think is it Oakmont is another one of the flags they planted.
You're talking about the ones where they're doing like that, the super. It's 2023. I think I forget what they were calling it, like the super or whatever.
So no. I'm not talking about the super series that the PGA. What I predicted, by the way, I'm talking about U.S. Open only. So USGA, we're going to take our tour hats off. Oh,
the rotation that they're talking about.
Yeah. They're even kind of creating it. Pebble's on there, Pinehurst is on there, and I think it's Oakmont's the other one that's on there.
I believe so.
And these are all longer, tougher courses. Is there, there are some folks saying get the country club on there. This is the 4th U.S. Open. It is the home of golf. It is different. God, that was a lot. That was a lot of fun to watch when the wind picked up a little bit, and that they had that course in tough conditions. And I know those guys don't want to face it week in, week out. I would love to see the USGA drop anchor there every 6, 7, 8 years. But my real question was, what are your thoughts of the USGA creating this kind of rotation of courses?
I'm fine with it because the U.S. Open is such a storied and special tournament, and really such a specific tournament that needs to play a specific way to meet its standards in the golf world, and that's it, to play hard. I think having a set rotation of courses over, like you said, 6, 8 years, or however many courses they figure it out to be, I think it makes a lot of sense because that allows those courses to prepare with plenty of time ahead. It allows the course to be ready, and it creates look, the way I view sports is anytime you can create some sort of data pool of history and I can't think of the word, history and like recency bias or whatever, like where you can almost try to predict, and you can get these like rivalries of these two guys are good on this course, like they're going to go at it. Like anytime you can create storylines within golf that are consistent within 4 years or so, I think it's good for the sport. So I think having rotation. I mean, look, the Masters has only ever played at Augusta, and like it happens with these major championships where, I mean, the Open Championship is typically a rotation, at least when it goes over to Europe. So
the Open Championship in a couple weeks, that's kind of what this is modeled after. They are on that's where the whole rota term is. I don't know why they shortened. Is rotation too tough to get out at once? Like, so the whole rota is from that, where they have only 11 clubs or 12 clubs, whatever it is, that host it. And it's not like every third year, every fourth year, obviously, because then you lose the luster. You just have, and I think that's what the USGA is trying to create, is this pool of courses. And I think they're doing a good job of it, because they're not shutting the door on introducing new courses. I'll tell you where I would love to see a US Open is, and I know they've had US Amateur there, but is a place like TPC Sawgrass. And again, there's my.
I don't know you were gonna say that too.
Well, because honestly, I just think of that course. And I'm like, all right, if the USGA got its hands on it and brought in their USGA sand, and they brought in and they got that grass, they had a year or two to really kind of maybe, because you don't have to do much to the layout. You just kind of maybe narrow the fairways, adjust some stuff. But
I don't think people realize how like the hand that the USGA has in prepping these courses. It's not that these country clubs are just saying, hey, you're going to host the US Open, like make it US Open ready. Then they have all the state of, like, no, the USGA is kind of running the show, like leading up to that, as far as, like you just said, even the sand they use in the bunker, and like they go to
they bring in their own sand.
They do everything. So yeah, that's to have and that, look, that even from a business standpoint, to have specific courses that you have that partnership and that relationship with, I think would only make it turn out consistency and great quality courses year in and year out, because there's going to be that relationship. There's going to be that familiarity in working with each other as well.
Here's what I want. I want a 3-year rotation, and I want in 3 years. This is a 3-year rotation, and this is exactly what they're going to do, or should do. And this bank of rota courses that we're talking about, Pebble, Pinehurst, soon to be the Country Club, they're year one. So that's year A on the calendar. Sure. Year B is always going to be a muni. I want a municipal course thrown in there, which could also be from the rota. I mean, it could be a Pebble, Pebble's not a muni, but Torrey Pines or Bethpage Black, one of those.
Yes.
That's got to be, so maybe it's it's the Rota, the classics, the publicly accessible course, and then the new. And that's where I want to see, like, Whistling Straits.
So straight.
On the streets, Whistling Straits, Bandon Dunes. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Everybody already wants to see a major out at Bandon Dunes. Blue Jack National, the new course that's going to be that JT's building with Jack down in South Florida. These are the kind of courses that are going to be the modern game that, I do think that make it. Hell, Pete Dye's course out at French Lick, 8,100 from the tips. Put the boys back there, grow it out, and let them have at it. Something old, something new, and then something public.
Yeah, no, I agree, and especially with the Muni course mixed in there. Like I love that, because that just speaks to what the U.S. Open is. I mean, it's supposed to be the stage for for these amateurs who've worked so hard as their shining moment to get out there and kind of.
It's the pinnacle of golf, in my opinion. There actually used to be a U.S. public links until about 2013, 14, 15, somewhere in there. Trevor Immelman is famously one of the former winners, and then he went on to win the Masters. I think he was the first public links winner to win the Masters.
And then he fell into an abyss of nothingness.
Trevor Immelman?
Yeah, he disappeared after that.
Do you know where he landed?
No, I have no clue where he landed. He just fell off my radar.
On a big fucking pile of money in the 18th green tower with CBS. He's taking over Nick Faldo's spot.
Oh, is he really? How did I not hear that?
Because it just happened like 4 days ago, 3 days ago.
Oh, okay, that's why. Okay.
Nick Faldo said, I'm out. And they said, come on down, Trevor Immelman. So he's going to be taking over for Nick. Yeah.
He went to Immelman. That's interesting.
Well, he's been doing a lot. He's been doing a lot on. So again, this is the beauty of divots and pivots, right? I think we can tell in this conversation who's the divot, who's the pivot,
Yeah.
because
we
I don't
both
mind.
have
I
our
don't mind.
expertise and
I don't mind
knowledge.
being. I don't mind being called Mr. Divot. Excuse me, Mr. Divot. No, earlier he's been doing a lot on Golf Channel, and he's been doing wonderful play-by-play for CBS, for Golf Channel, for a lot of different outlets. And so I have a little bit of a love for him too, knowing his story from the pub links, going on to win the Masters in 08. And then you're right, but he is also one of those guys, when you hear him talk about it, he just smiles, because he's approached that on shows before with interviews, because that kind of David Duval syndrome of you won something big, and then where'd you go? Duvey, my boy Duvey's back in the senior game. But Trevor Immelman, he'll just smile and be like, yeah, that's how the game goes, but I won the Masters. So
he's gonna always have that. He's gonna always say,
I mean, wouldn't you?
He can go to the champions dinner any year he wants. He can go,
yeah.
He's got a locker there forever. He's good.
At any given moment for the rest of his life, because they're not members, but champions get playing privileges. So really, at any given moment for the rest of his life, from the months of it's like October to May, he can call up and say, "Hey, I'd like to play." There's some actually Augusta National too. It's a cool story when you look into their membership and stuff. If you've never done it, look into membership. I mean, when you hear like, what is it? Is it a golf tournament?
Google that.
They've got like a I'm gonna apply for a membership.
Totally my budget.
Can you send me some information, please? No, they've got it's like cabins on the premises. It was like, it's not just a golf course. It genuinely is like a club or like a resort. Eisenhower famously worked out of there for a few months during his presidency. He had an office above the pro shop. His desk is still there.
Interesting. Did not know that. You know so many stories.
I'm a font of useless knowledge, such as the fact that TPC Deer Run in bumfuck Illinois. I'm serious. I don't know what the name of the town is. I apologize, Illinois, but it is. It's like triangulated between Des Moines, Chicago, and somewhere else south. But it's in Illinois. TPC Deer Run, 7,200 yards, notoriously easy. Something like 9 of the last 10 winners have shot 20 under.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It's going to be a birdie fest.
Birdie Fest. Yes, I ripped that off the save article too. TPC Deer Run. We got bent grass. We got bent grass everywhere that you want to be. You got bluegrass in the rough. So I guess that's the only thing, is as long as you keep the ball in play, you're not going to be penalized too much. But at the same time, I say it's a TPC layout. It's not an overly difficult layout. And so quite frankly, strokes gained approach, strokes gained putting. And for me, strokes gained par fives, because these par fives are nom nom nom. You just got to eat them up, and go low and hold on. That's going to be my 3 key stats. You didn't see me
threw in the par 5. I did not have the par 5s in there. I had the par 4s because with the length of around 450, because there was 4 or 5 of those. I forget how many.
But that's Mr. Simpleton on my side. I was about to say what Andrew's referencing, which first and foremost, as always, shouts to the boys and girls at Fantasy National Golf Club for making us. You know what? Real quick, look at their logo. You see their logo? Yeah. All right, check out this shirt that I'm wearing. You see that moose?
Well, that moose head.
That's the Portland Sea Dogs. That was for their mid-May game. That was, I think I've worn it on the show already. But I just noticed that the Fantasy National Golf are they New England boys and girls?
You know what? I don't know if they are. I don't think they are.
I got to know where the whole moose thing came from. But anyways,
I can find out for you right now.
If you're not on Fantasy National, you need to get on Fantasy National. It's not hard to operate, and it makes you a lot smarter. But their whole shtick is moose. The moose is operating, and obviously, I was today old when I saw the moose in their logo. But those are my 3 keys for this week: strokes gained approach, strokes gained putting, strokes gained par 5s. So keep it in play and score. Actually, I hate this phrase. Score your ball. Whoever scores their ball, I hate.
Scores their ball.
He can really score his ball.
That's like when someone says, "Oh, which stick are you using? Which golf stick are you using?" Like, no. Let's keep talking.
Talk to me about your mixed model.
Well, yes. Before we get into the mixed model, though, it is that time of the show again where Piper Golf. We mentioned it earlier. They were part of a great giveaway that Scott Masterson won, winning a hat which Bud is rocking right now. I forgot mine in the car, and I was too lazy to go outside and get it, but I have mine as well. But yes, Piper Golf, the home of the Piper Golf, blue, gold, black, and green, I think. What is the fourth color of golf ball? I just messed that up. But you go on piper.golf, you take their quiz, you find out which golf ball that they have is best for your handicap, for your type of swing, for really just the way you play golf. You can order using our discount code DIVPIV, that's DIVPIV. And look, even without the discount code, considering the not the customization, but the specific
experience.
What?
Nope, I'm gonna stop.
I was gonna say, considering the specificity. That's not a real word, right? I know what it is. It sounds like, but considering the specificity of once you take that quiz and you get those balls of how they can change your game, for the price, I think their normal packs are between $25 and $30. So considering that, for 12 balls and what you're getting, it's a fantastic price. And like I said, you go on and use our discount code DIVPIV, you'll get a discount on that as well. So go and check it out. They have hats, they have some shirts, and they are going to be having more apparel in the future. So piper.golf. Thank you, Piper Golf. And yes, it's mixed condition model time for the John Deere Classic. Why are you laughing? You're just gonna laugh all day. That's fine. That's fine. You got jokes. You're sitting outside enjoying the sun, which is going down. Sun go down. What?
I teed off at 7:30 this morning and opened with a quad and then missed the cut by 2. Let's get on with it.
I know. Anyway, so it's a weird field this week because we got Mr. Webb Simpson as our top golfer here at 10-6. And all I was gonna say is that any tournament that first of all, Thigala is priced above Jason Day, which is fantastic.
Accurate.
But it is just that kind of field right now because Jason Day has been finding himself in the low 8s, mid 7s. And this for this week, he's a 10,000 price golfer. So it is a bit of a smaller field. That's no disrespect for these guys, but it doesn't have the big hitting names that we're used to paying up to 10,000 for. So this is one of those weeks where I'm really spreading out my kind of my range of where I'm buying some low guys. I'm going to leave money on the table when I'm building my lineups because it's just one of those weeks where somebody can come out of nowhere and just win. Because there's no real horse for the course here that's going to just run away with it because they're that much better than everyone else. There's no like Rory. There's no like top 10 guy here that's just going to crush everyone.
Nah, this horse has been ridden by everybody. So yeah, that's why it's going to be this horse has gotten around. It gets passed around a lot. And
yes,
with Webb Simpson, Adam Hadwin's my boy who I had him last week too. And shouts to my other league. I was sitting pretty like literally he birdied 17, Xander bogeyed. I was like, sweet, honey, let's go to the store and get dinner. I came home and I pulled my phone out. I was like, what the I was like, and so I turned on Golf Central and I was like, oh, I'm just sitting there going like this. Anyway, so but the fact that they make up the 10K range, you're right. There's nothing up there this week. And yeah, what you're going to get is you're going to get a lot of people knee-jerk reaction to those folks who played well last week and saying, like, I get it, current form, so let's take them. But I'm not going to swallow that kind of money because, like you pointed out, it's the John Deere Classic. So this is not – you've heard me talk about it on the show before, those weeks where you don't really see people getting kind of up for it. The cream's not going to rise to the top.
Yep.
This is straight black coffee right here. There's no cream rising here. So you do have to go in there and just kind of either – I'm not saying go with your gut because trust me, your gut's not as smart as you think it is. Neither is mine. But I'm saying you do have to you don't try to outsmart yourself this week. Run your numbers, look at your stats, and just go with it. Lean into your data, and don't try to outsmart yourself. Because I'm sitting here and I'm staring at names like, like actually one of them who I really do like, and he's about as high as I might go. And so I don't know. Real quick, are you going to touch 10K or are you going to this week? Do you think? And
no. I don't see the need
our lineups will be out tomorrow afternoon and the close of business, as they would say.
EOB.
But do you see anything in 10K?
Look, 10K with a week like this, 10K just carries way too much risk for me because like I said, there's in a tournament like in a field like this, there could be so many guys from the mid 7 and lower range that can just past
it's
these.
It's a first-time winner week.
First of all, there's only 4 guys priced at 10K or above. So the odds are that, one, just looking at the numbers, the winner's going to come from somewhere else because none of these names, like I said, carry enough weight to really run away with it. So there's way too much risk for me in the 10K range this week where, I'm not touching 10K. Even though, sure, when I look at my mixed conditions, Hadwin and Simpson both fall in my top 10 of my model, but that doesn't mean I'm going to play them, like I said, just because when you factor in other factors outside the numbers, like just the fact that there's so many other guys who are can pass them, and it's so risky that I'm just not going to play them because it's not going to be worth it. They're going to be so high owned.
So we agreed. Fade the 10K this week. I mean, if you're like Webb Simpson's cousin or something, I understand. I don't. If you have inside intel on Jason Day, if you know that he's fully healthy, if you hear rumblings that he just went out and shot a 62 barefoot at twilight, with his buddies half drunk, bet him this week because he's projected ownership is 3, right? Like that's one of those things. Like if you've got the inside track and you know that he's actually piping it, striping it, he's coming back strong, he's tournament ready, the whole bit. That could be that could be the only reason to go up there. Is that 3% ownership projection makes you a little bit kind of linger, but I'm with you. I'm topping mine out and I'm going to jump right into it at 9K head first into Maverick McNeely. He's going to break through. He checks the boxes up high. I keep talking about that first time winter week or we're going to have an off brand win. This is his week. This is the week that, a guy like him is going to come out, finally break through. And it's worth it. So it's worth it. I'm saying he's worth it.
But I agree with you because you kind of went right to the next point I was going to make, where I'm also not really thrilled or turned on much about the 9K range. Like Maverick McNeely, maybe Charles Howell, I would take a chance at because he might just be under-owned. And he should be good enough where he could, but like I'm not excited about that. Where I'd much rather just load up on 8K guys. Like I'm not excited about 10K or 9K because of both the risk and I hate to say it this way, but in the quality of player for what you're getting for your price there. I'd much rather go down to the 8K range where there's guys. Sorry, I just have to reorder this. Where there's guys like Scott Stallings and Cameron Davis. Like Cameron Davis is a guy that in this tournament field I feel like should be higher than 8,400. I feel like 8,400 for Cameron Davis is a steal in this field.
You know who I miss is Cameron Young. C. Young had a good start to the. Anyways, no, I agree. I load. That's going to be another T-shirt for you. I load up on 8K guys.
I'm not sure I'm going to sign off on that one.
I'm not sure you're going to say, David.
We'll sell that one in women's sizes. Okay.
We'll sell them. We'll sell it in extra medium only. No, I agree with you on 8K. I'm in love with a couple of people in the 8K range. Lanto Griffin, most notably because I like the name, and B. Well, I mean, listen, strokes gained approach 7th, strokes gained putting 45th. That's good enough for me. Like that those two right there. And he's also strokes gained tee to green 17th. So he keeps the ball in play. He puts himself in position to score. And my theory on putting, you could be ranked 185th. If you're Will Zalatoris and you're that shitty of a putter, hey man, he's still up there. I mean, like the flat stick is so streaky that I feel like, and speaking from experience, I only had 30 putts today, so I was proud of that. But Lanto Griffin, I like there in the 8K range. I just got distracted by my boyfriend David Lipsky down there in 7K, but I don't know if I can.
I saw him in your lineup this past week. Any chance you get?
Lipsky he's gonna break through. You heard it here first. Ever since him and Rye showed out in New Orleans this year, I like
been all over it.
And Lipsky and Rye, whiskey and Rye. Anyways,
you did nail that combination. I won't lie.
But before I start going drunk on 7K, you want to load up on some 8K guys. So who else do you like in the 8K range besides agreeing with me that Lanto Griffin is a good pick?
So like I said, I also like Scott Stallings. I like JT Poston as well. These are guys that I think can go kind of unseen because they're names that have been around at one time or another, but they're not consistently around enough. But in this type of field, once again, I think they have the type of play for it. Look, this is a type of course where most of these guys are going to be able to hit the greens in regulation. So like you said, strokes gained putting is going to be very key. You're going to need to be able to really sink it or gain strokes anywhere that you can from the green over some guys. So all three, JT Poston, Scott Stallings, and Cameron Davis all ranked top 30 in putting on the season this year. and on bent grass. So I like all three of those in the 8K range. Those are probably my favorites in the 8K range. If I had to pick some other guys here, so I am now just trying to, because I reorganized my
No,
my
you're
model
good.
here.
The only person I'm going to toss in there is, and just because he falls into my theory of putting can come and go at will, is
Sure.
Lucas Glover, just because he checks the other boxes. I mean, he's a ball striker, keeps it in play, great on the approach. His putting is just dog shit. So, but you never know. I mean, it's one of those things. At that price for the leverage, I mean, nobody's going nuts for Lucas Glover this week.
So here's the thing that's intrigued, because Lucas Glover is someone I start 10%. As well. So he's someone I start as well. So here's the thing on the season so far. Well, make sure this one is on this. On the season so far, strokes gained approach, he is 15th. From 125 to 150 out, he is 6th. Yes, his putting has been horrendous, both on bent grass and on the season so far. But like you said, someone just catches a hot putter one week, especially in a tournament like this with his lower pressure, it can definitely happen. But where he really shines is the correlating courses. Where
tell me about your correlating courses. I love when you bring out the correlating courses. What courses did you correlate?
Hold on, let me go back and see which one. So there's quite a few here, but obviously, well, look, I'll just say the other TPCs, your Scottsdale, your Summerlin, your Twin Cities, like those are some key TPC courses that you can correlate it to. But some other ones is Riviera. Let me see. Hold on, I'm scrolling around here. Liberty National, and those are the main ones. Those are the main ones that people would know, because there's a few in there that are kind of one-offs. But when it comes to those correlating courses, Lucas Glover, he's first in strokes gained approach. He's first in birdies or better gained. He's 10th in proximity of 125 to 150, and he's second on power fours between 400 and 450. Like if he can just find the putter this week at 8,300, Lucas Glover could show out a little bit here in this field. Now, he hasn't done much. Let me take a look at his recent results here. He hasn't done much to really. So look, he's making cuts this year. He's made the cut in 4 of his last 4 tournaments he's played, but he hasn't finished better than T23, which was the PGA Championship.
Great 4 straight cuts coming into the John Deere Classic, brought to you by Motorola. You know who can just absolutely hit the bricks? So we agree that for reasons, there's some cosmic connections that bring Lucas Glover into your menu this week. And you know who can absolutely? I'm a little upset with Brendan Todd. Let me tell you why. I had 4 of 6 make the cut last week for the Travelers. I had Thigala, I had Webb Simpson, at 6%. He was my moneymaker, and then all this, and then I had Patrick Cantlay. We all saw what happened to Patrick Cantlay on Sunday. The way he played, honest to God, made me think that he was about to go to the Live Tour. I don't know if you heard about Jason Kokrak.
I did. I heard about
If you didn't hear about it, Kokrak basically bombed his second shot over the 18th green on day 2 and didn't even sign his scorecard. He drove right out. They said he walked to the parking lot and left, and then announced the Live Tour, which if you're gonna quit your job, I mean, it's a pretty good way to go out. But the way Cantlay was playing was so uncharacteristic.
What a risky play for him to go out with that image. If the Live Tour crashes and burns, yeah, sure, he'd probably be able to get back on the PGA Tour.
You got to think some of these signing bonuses are guaranteed. These guys are smarter than that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And those are the decisions they've made, though. I mean, some of them have probably said like, all right, I can either go grind it out for the next 20 years and make 15 more million, or I can sign on this dotted line, probably get a 10, 12, $15 million signing bonus, which is nothing to them. So anyways, Brendan Todd, he just absolutely and he was in a position to just barely make it, and so I'm a little upset with him. But yeah, Patrick Cantlay, the way he was playing, just like fatting an iron into a pond. That was my first tee shot. That's what led to the pond. I fatted a 4-iron at 7:30 in the morning because I couldn't warm up. There was no range or anything, and I just fatted a 4-iron into a 150 carry. And then I yanked. Nice. Anyways, Brendan Todd, even though he's attractive at strokes gained, at the short game 2, total 3, he checks a box for approach, 50, and his putting he's a good putter. I just had to exercise my Brendan Todd demons. The 8K range is shallow, But there's some decent fish in there. So
I can tell you right now, 5 of my 6 players this week are 8K range.
Well, everybody knows that Andrew Leduc eats 8K guys. Wow.
Oh,
no, you load up on 8K guys. Sorry, you don't eat them. That was another slip of the tongue. You said we were going live today?
Yeah, we're live right now. Yeah, you too. I mean, we might not be anymore. We might have been cut off right there, but look,
I'm not the one loading up on 8K dudes. No, let's talk some more.
Yeah, so look, I think what's key here, because let's see, how are we doing on time? We're doing all right on time here. So I think what's going to be key here is, like I said, if you want to mix it up, you don't want to get too cute, but it is a good chance to take some shots on some names that nobody knows that are probably going to be under 3% owned, that you might as well take a shot on. Somebody like a Chris Gotterup at 7,300, who ranks 12th in my model, because he's having himself a good season right now. He hasn't played any correlating courses, but he is a what? Oh, is that someone you're going to bring up?
I was just going to mention him. Yeah, no, he's a hot up and comer. He's a good story. He's just came fresh off of U.S. Open not Monday qualifier, but the final qualifying, and he's a cool story.
Yeah, no, and I agree. So that someone like that who's riding a bit of a high in the golf world and on his own personal achievements, it makes sense that he could show up in a tournament like this. And make the cut and surprise some people and get your value easily, especially for the ownership. So there's guys like that I'm going to take, like you said, you don't want to get too cute, but I'm going to take some smart chances on some lesser known guys, someone like him, someone like a Jim Noss. I think that's how you say that, Knous.
Yeah, Noose. I think I said on one of our first episodes.
Noss, yeah.
He was one of my first guys out the gate because he was somebody who I said, I'm just pulling him right out of the numbers. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, he shows up again after the U.S. Open here. Someone like him and then someone like Hank Libiota. Those are the guys that I will take some strategic risks on, with the fact that I'm gonna play the fact that I don't think enough guys are gonna play them, considering their name recognition as being names that no one's gonna know if you're just a casual fan. One, I also don't think there's gonna be a ton of casual fans playing this week on DraftKings or any other fantasy site in general. But I think these are just guys who are going to go weekend. Yeah, I think they're guys who are going to go under owned anyway. So, and that's a great point. So if you are listening and you are just a casual player on DraftKings, it's a perfect weekend to go and drop $1, $2, $3 on a tournament, because tournament sizes are probably going to be less because of the holiday weekend, and 2, because the tournament is not necessarily as starstruck as some of the other tournaments. So this is a good weekend to jump in and try to really make some good profit margins here. So maybe you take advantage of that if you're watching this. But yeah, so those are some of the kind of the lower owned, lower price, I'd say, shot in the darks I'm taking. Do you have any guys that might go unnoticed that people might not really be too familiar with?
Well, again, everybody knows my love affair with David Lipsky.
Yes, I think if you listen to the show, you know his name now.
Well, and a lot of other people know his name. Projection ownership at 10%. You get in that double digits. They like us. They really like us, though. But somebody who I kind of like, who, again, I think the theme for the week for me this week is to hell with putting, because this guy checks all the other boxes, but recent form is what's making me say to that putting statistic. And it's Marty Laird, Mr. Martin Laird, the Scottish guy.
He's been playing pretty good.
He played really well at the Travelers. And I just think that, again, if you are playing well right now, that kind of recent form, you mentioned JT Poston. That was one guy I was going to bring up too. He was a dark horse, man. He was a lineup killer for folks last week. So if you really, crunch your numbers and try to find those gems. At the end of the day, we're talking about 140 dudes going out, and you want to find 6 that make the cut. Yeah. It's a lot harder than it sounds. And you say, like, these guys are pros. They are pros, which means it's in a course like this, it's going to turn into a pitch and putt. Maybe that's why John Rahm doesn't play it. He doesn't fancy himself. He doesn't like these putting contests. I got so pissed at him when he came out with that garbage. But he made up for it by going on Nickelodeon. Did you watch the Slime Cup at all?
No, but I saw the funny tweets saying that they were going to be the guys who did it were going to be suspended by the PGA Tour for going on a rival golf tour. I loved it.
I think it's great. That's right. String them up, send them up. First of all, some of my favorite players. All right. Oh, hold on. DK. Let's talk. 7. Is there? Have we kind of messed around in the 7K range? I told you I like Marty Laird. I agree with you about Lebiota, by the way, especially because he's going to be severely low owned. For a second, I thought it was Hank Azaria. That was the person that was the person in my brain when I saw Hank Lebiota. I was like, excuse me, what? But the only other player that's a name that we've talked about a couple times, but he doesn't really check too many boxes, is Mr. Smalley this week.
Yeah,
Mr. Alex Smalley.
He's been a favorite player of the show in past weeks.
He is a friend of the show, and that's because he's 44 in DK points. So he's a top 50. He's a performer. He shows up. He's top 50 in approach. I have him flagged because he might be my kind of gut check. Like, you know what? Ball striker, top 40 in approach. Yeah, maybe it's a week. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
What time for what?
Time to hit Bed Bath and Beyond after Home Depot. You know what it's time for.
No, with some of your comments tonight, I'm a little scared.
Why did we not talk about Mr. Mark Hubbard?
So
is that your dark horse? Is that who you didn't want to tell me about on air?
No, because I can't make up my mind on him because I did flag him and he does rank out good. He does rank out good in my model. He's been making cuts. He's made his last 3 cuts, but he hasn't finished better than 44th. But that's, like we said, making cuts in this tournament is going to be just what we need. I want to look one last thing. I want to look at his tournament history because I forget what that is too.
Check out his tournament history because there's a name that just jumped out at me that I played in a free tournament DraftKings and ended up winning $2 out of it. Woo woo. But Steve Stricker is the kind of name I see. I just saw him down there at 74.
I saw he popped up in my model briefly again, and I was like, "No, I can't. No, I'm not going to do it again."
The only reason I might is because he's playing incredibly well on the PGA Tour Champions. He won a major. He was in contention for the U.S. Open, I think. And then at the end of the day, we are talking about a course where it's kind of like this is where Jim Furyk comes out of nowhere at 53 and makes a run at it. So
I'm not fully opposed to it. Like I said, he does rank out good. It's one of those where last time I had the same exact thinking, the same exact,
Well,
rationale.
Don't be shocked if he shows up in my lineup. And if he does, then you'll know that I made it under the influence of something.
Well, and that's the thing, because last time I played him, I was very confident, and then he looked good day one and then fell off. So that's what you get when you play Steve Stricker sometimes. Yeah, so look back to Mark Hubbard. Mark Hubbard's someone that I like, but I just there was enough guys in the 8K range that I liked more to where I just didn't really need to get down to him at the end of the day, to where I didn't force myself to get down to him as a core guy to build my lineup around, because I didn't like him that much, and I just liked the other guys more. It's not that I don't think he's going to do good this week. I just prefer to play some other guys.
I'm not judging. Right at the end. I just prefer other men this week. I'm actually looking at, because I'm thinking about taking a flyer on a 6K guy. I might try to do it and make room for Webb Simpson, because as much as I want to poo-poo the 10K and I said fade the 10K, I'm doing that thing where you kind of second guess yourself at the last minute.
And you go, yeah, but they're that high price for a reason. Yeah, well, you know what? He's also 82nd in putting, 70th in approach and correlation, and 71st in birdies as a correlation. So if that's worth, he actually, you know what? He's not top 20 in any of my key stats.
Who?
I'm sorry, he's top 20 in one of my key stats, and that is proximity 125 to 150 in correlating courses, Webb Simpson.
I mean,
and he's technically 20th on strokes gained approach in the season. But other than that, like when I'm looking at those numbers of those stats and those rankings, I'm not seeing someone I'm paying $10,600 for in DraftKings.
That's fair.
Did I just save you?
Yes.
Save you?
Yeah, because I was thinking about getting too cute and creative, and I'm like, is this the week that Boo Weekly comes off the bench and just all of a sudden?
Boo Weekly.
I love at the last minute, after I kind of get my lineup somewhat sorted, to then go back and start second guessing and sorting and be like, oh, who's the top ball striker on
That's
par
why when it
three?
comes to our little competition here, I'm setting it, forgetting it, and not touching it again, because I will do that. I will tinker the hell out of it,
All right.
and my
We got a couple
original
minutes.
lineup would have won 6 for 6 every time. I swear.
Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda. This is your mulligan
Exactly.
and ours as well, because you had Rory, I had JT at the U.S. Open. That kind of was the differentiator there. You took the lead. You didn't show up last week, so we're scratching it. We're starting fresh.
I took a nap last week.
You needed a nap though.
Yeah.
So we're starting fresh. We're gonna run now through the end through East Lake.
Yes.
The first report will come out Sunday evening after the play concludes. We are tracking DK points head to head throughout the season. And it's a lineup of integrity. Before it goes live, we will let each other know and say, "You ready? I'm ready." We put them out there. Yep. And then all hell breaks loose on the Twitter sphere. But ironically enough, because we are hive braining this, because the whole premise of this show, hello friends, whole premise of this show has been that you're a fantasy sports guy. Yep. And you were looking to grow your golf knowledge and apply it there. And I'm more of a golf guy looking to grow it. And so there is that intersection where it's like, shit, every once in a while our lineups only differ by 2 or 3, but that's all you need in this to finish in the money. By the way, finished in the money last week.
And then when we agree on a guy, fireworks go off, because that means our two brains work together, and we came to the same conclusion. So
did the production money for the fireworks graphic go to making that one of slicing bud? I love that, by the way.
What's slicing bud? There it is. I made that. You saw. That was a very last minute, like, some idea I had right before the show. I made that in about 10 minutes, quickly downloaded, edited, and if we like it, there it is again. If we like it, we will. I'm going to add some sound to it. I will. We'll make it a little bit more structured, but I just want to have fun with it.
That two things, and then that picture is from the Charles River earlier this year, and I almost flipped right afterwards after my little wait. Let me take a selfie. Which was a lot of fun though. And B, as always, thank you once again to In the Clutch, Piper Golf, Fantasy National, and my friends at Belly Up for letting me crash your party as always once a week. It's fun to come on here, talk a little shop, forget about the world, and focus on something fun like golf and fantasy sports and this right here, interacting with you, America. That's what we're here to do.
Yes, agreed. Well, you know what? Amen. This deserves another amen. No, and yes, I agree. As always, thank you, Piper Golf. Thank you, In the Clutch, Fantasy National Golf Club. And yes, none of this show would be possible without the fantastic partners at Belly Up Media, Belly Up Sports. Check out all the Twitter handles: Belly Up Fantasy Sports, Baseball. We got a Twitter account for everything over at Belly Up. So a lot of fun stuff there. Check it out. And as always, check out at Real Mr. Mallet. Check out at This Buds For You. Check out at Divots and Pivots. Find our YouTube page, Divots and Pivots. Hey, we just made the Twitch account today, so go find Divots and Pivots on Twitch, where you can catch us on Tuesday nights live before the full, I guess we'll call it, national broadcast on Wednesday mornings for our Work and Watch Wednesdays. That will be found on all of our other platforms.
If you're on the old YouTube, click the red button, subscribe. You know the drill.
Yes.
Help us. Help us.
I gotta start saying that now. You're right. Subscribe. I just gotta be one of those guys now. Okay, yeah. Click subscribe.
Got to be one of those guys. No, but seriously, thank you all to everybody who listens, shows up. We love you.
Yes, we love you guys. We will.
Amen.
And amen. And we will see you next week here on Divots and Pivots. If I can only find the outro video. See you next week.